Who to captain, who to buy, teams to target, and we're going to have a closer look at some fullbacks because I think we should refer to them as wide forwards quite often. And I got some average position maps for you. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are well and you're looking forward to Game Week 2. This is your complete guide for Game Week 2. We're going to talk about all the major topics. But before we get started, I just want to give a little nod to the fixture ticker because I think it's important we take a stock check, right? Remember, we are only one game week down. There's still 37 to go. We don't need to be too knee-jerky. And with that, we have to remember our Aston Villa and our Chelsea players, for example. Ollie Watkins, Cole Palmer, João Pedro. Just because they had a bad game week doesn't mean we should be selling them. That's still right at the top of the fixture ticker. Worth noting, by the way, Bournemouth. We didn't look at Bournemouth because of an opening day trip to Anfield, but now look at their fixture ticker right at the top. This is filtered by difficulty on the Scout members area. Semenyo will be getting a lot of love, but we're going to talk and come back to this later as we talk about some players and teams to target. But I do want to start with one of my favorite topics, and that is average position maps. Okay, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please hit that like button. But thank you so much for all your subscribes pre-season and in the last few days. I'm really hoping you'll follow this channel this season. I've got some awesome stuff to show you. Hit the subscribe button with the notification bell, and I really hope to add value to your FPL and your football experience as well. Now, look, I've brought some fullbacks up onto screen. Now, of course, centre-backs got all the attention pre-season, and rightly so, because defensive contributions has changed the way we play the game. I myself have picked some DEFCON beasts like Murillo, centre-back. But I just want to make it very, very clear that this season, the fullbacks, many of them have been massively underpriced because in the last few years, we've seen a slump. We have gone are the days where we can pay $7.5 million for a Trent, a Cancelo, a Marcus Alonso, a Robertson. The best-in-class fullbacks are now $5.5–6 million. No defender costs more than that. Why is that? Is that because the last few seasons fullbacks haven't delivered points? Yes, it is. An FPL go from the last few seasons and they see a slump. But I think we're seeing a massive resurgence of the fullbacks. And I think Game Week 1 was a good indicator for that. And I'm going to show you why. Now, of course, the DEFCON points benefit mainly centre-backs. But if your fullback is playing against a really tricky winger that's getting a lot of the ball, that fullback has a huge chance of DEFCON. We saw Ola Aina at Nottingham Forest getting DEFCON. We saw Aït-Nouri getting DEFCON, right? Fullbacks can still get DEFCON if a lot of the players coming down their side, but they're also well rewarded in the bonus point system for those defensive actions. And because they're creative outlets, again, a lot of these guys will be bonus point beasts. We saw Cucurella picking up bonus points. We saw Aït-Nouri picking up bonus points. We're going to see Frimpong and Munoz picking up bonus points so often. Let's not view them as defenders. Let's view them as midfielders, okay? And also, let's compare them with 5.5–6 million midfielders and forwards, because we absolutely should. I'm seeing Fulkrug and I'm seeing Igor Thiago and Mayenda, 5.5–6 million strikers that will get nowhere near these guys in terms of overall points over the season. Honestly, like, is Fulkrug really going to outscore Aït-Nouri? Absolutely not. So where is your 6 million better spent? Getting a better fourth defender or getting a better third forward? Invest a little bit more money in the back is what I'm saying. I said this pre-season. I myself have shaped up in a 4-4-2. I have four defenders priced 5 million to 6 million. 5 to 5.5, in fact. I'm going big at the back, and I think we're going to see a lot of momentum towards that. Now, let me just show you the average positions of some of these guys from the weekend just gone. So, Cucurella, I don't think we see Cucurella here and say defender. He is more advanced than Caicedo. He is level peggings with Enzo Fernandez, who's often a box-to-box 8, and he's pretty much in the same spaces as Jamie Gittins, the wide forward. Cucurella inverted a lot. This is a lovely average position for a left-back, but it gets better, okay? Daniel Munoz, we know, plays often as the creative outlet down the right-hand side. Eze down the left for Palace, Munoz down the right. Tyrick Mitchell, the other wing-back, much deeper. Daniel Munoz is higher than Wharton. He's higher than Ismail Assar, who's meant to be the right winger, right? He's much higher than Will Hughes. This ain't a defender. This is a 5.5 defender in FPL playing as an attacking midfielder, a wide forward, essentially. Let's change the way we look. Yes, they'll still benefit from the clean sheet points and the DEFCON points, But we judge them for goals and assists the same way as midfielders. They're cheat codes. Daniel Munoz has been a set and forget in my team for that reason. Pedro Porro, this is Spurs in a back four against worse opposition. At home, they play Burnley. Thomas Frank will go back four. Against Man City this weekend, Thomas Frank will not play a back four. He will do what he did against PSG. He'll play a back five. It will be Van der Ven, it will be Romero, and it will be Danso as three centre-backs. Now, what that does for Spence and what that does from Porro, they go from here to here. I guarantee the average position map of Porro and Spence will be even better than it was against Burnley because it's a back five. Even against Burnley, they're level with Sarr, they're level with Archie Gray, they're level with Bergvall. They're pretty much midfielders. Man United, Patrick Dorgu was more advanced than Bruno Fernandes. Patrick Dorgu played in the same space as Mason Mount. Patrick Dorgu was more advanced than Dallo, the other fullback, and Patrick Dorgu was way more advanced than Casemiro. They played a back five. Dorgu's effectively a wide forward, the creative outlet down the left. And what did we see in the first, was it 15 minutes of that game? He hit the post. He will shoot on sight and he's going to get into amazing positions. Patrick Dorgu is 4.5 million for a wide forward. Like very much. So look, here's a few. I'll show you more as the season goes on. If you like this visual stuff from between the posts, you have to check out my Sunday debrief streams, right? Sunday morning, first thing, catch me live or on catch up. I go through a lot of this, but a lot of XG plots and shot maps. And it's all the football stuff that helps us with FPL. If you haven't checked that show out already, please do. And if you watch the Sunday debrief, drop a comment below for others to let them know about it and to hopefully endorse it for me. Thank you, guys. It's my favorite show of the week. Right, we'll move away from fullbacks. I think you get like that. I think you get what I'm coming from here. I'm not saying neglect centre backs. I'm just saying invest more money in the back. Now, in terms of teams to target, we spoke a little bit about Bournemouth, and Semenyo is obviously front of mind. But when we look at who to buy this week, is there a player that I would be saying make a transfer on straight away? We have seen some price rises, right? We know there's going to be a lot of love for Chris Wood. We know there's going to be a lot of love for Semenyo. Richarlison's going to get love. Whoever returned in game week 1 gets love in game week 2. That's how it works. Do I think you should be making knee-jerky transfers for those players? Semenyo, absolutely. But how do you get him? Very few of us have got 7 million midfielder spots, or 7.5. I don't think you come down from a Florian Wirtz. In fact, guys, do not knee-jerk sell Wirtz. Do not knee-jerk sell Bruno. Do not knee-jerk sell Palmer. Keep these guys. Florian Wirtz, for example, look at his fixtures, game week 4 and 5. We absolutely don't want to let him go. He's got Burnley, Everton, then Palace. It's a great 3-game run. 4, 5, and 6. So I don't think Semenyo is going to be easy unless you've got loads of money in the bank and like a 6.5 midfielder. Let's say you had Ndai. I would sell Ndai to get to Semenyo. But the player I definitely would be moving to, and the player I know so many of you can move to because you have a 5.5 midfield slot, is Teams Reijnders. Now, of course, he's had a price rise. Can you go down to a Teams Reijnders? Do you have a 6 million spot? If you do, I think you make it happen. Maybe you've got a 5.5 million spot of money in the bank. I left 0.5 in the bank for things like this to happen. And look, I can only milk Teams Reijnders for another couple of days until game week 2 hits, unless he bangs again in game week 2. But you'll know I've been banging the drum hard. Very few players I went big on and said, you've got to have him in your team. He's just a cheat code at 5.5. Teams Reijnders was the player that FPL priced wrong. And where it's all subjective with player pricing, 0.5 either way, right? None of them are priced wrong, in my opinion. No player other than Teams Reijnders has been in the wrong category. Not 0.5 either way. No 2 million, right? You should have been 7.5. You should have been 8. You're 5.5 now. Some of my tweets about him, but just want to mention some of these numbers. I'm not showing you to brag about my tweets. I'm showing you to call out these stats. 10 goals, 5 assists in 35 league games. Tick. Club World Cup. Played 90 plus minutes in three of them. They only had 4 games in the Club World Cup. He joined a few days before. Absolutely, make no doubt about it. He's first choice for Pep. And this is where he's playing. Now, this isn't from the weekend just gone. This is from the Juventus game. Now, the Juventus game was telling in the Club World Cup because it was the only game he played with Rodri. And this is the midfield shape Pep wants. This season, he wants to use Rodri as the 6, of course. He wants Teams Reijnders and Bernardo Silva to be dual number 8s, right? Rodri here, Bernardo and Teams there. And that's exactly what happened at the weekend. And it was just Rico Gonzalez instead of Rodri. But Tijani Reijnders in that space will be so attacking because he can box crash, he can late run, he can time his runs into the box. And we saw Bernardo Silva's quite good at taking some defensive responsibility, and Tijani Reijnders becomes the heartbeat, right? Now, if you're playing with wide forwards like Doku and Savinho, they will at times drift infield, but often they'll hug the touchlines. But if you go with a Cherki or a Marmoush or a Foden, they'll even be more inverted. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with Reijnders. Ideally, you want Reijnders playing with wingers. It gives him more space to be the 10. Okay. Also, just check. Rain ain't Nori. Come on. Again, midfielder. Yeah. He's on par with Reijnders. He's going to get goals and assists when we talk about those 6 million cheat codes. So look, Reijnders again, just a nod to him playing alongside Rodri. That is the midfield combination Pep wants. Tijani Reijnders has been bought to play alongside Rodri, and the third player in there could change. But Bernardo Silva, again, Pep's boy, is likely going to get that nod more often than not. Guys, thank you so much for dropping your comments, by the way. I will respond to all of them. Let's talk about teams to target this week. Now, we can look at the ticker and we can go teams to target over the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Scout tells us Bournemouth top, Chelsea Villa. But if you're on free here, or if you want to go just for a short-term punt, Arsenal are top of the projected goals. This is from Rob T. And of course they are. They've got a newly promoted team and they play at home. A lot of the big teams this week play away from home, and that affects their market odds. Man City are also at home, but then it's Chelsea away, Liverpool away, Aston Villa away, Man United away. Right. So when we talk about like who's going to score the most goals, often it's the home teams that get that advantage. And straight away, Man City and Arsenal have the fixtures. If you own Saka, if you own Gyökeres, if you own Haaland, these are your best players for match day 2 for game week 2. But let's not forget, Chelsea, Liverpool still fancy to score. You might see Liverpool versus Newcastle and go, don't know about that one. We'll talk about that one when we talk about captaincy. Historically, that's a proper good game. I think in terms of teams to target this week, let's just remember you're picking your players for more than 1 week. You don't all have to have an Arsenal player. You don't all have to have Haaland this week. How do you feel about Arsenal or Man City moving forward? Well, Arsenal, yes, leads this week. The best fixture, game week 3, Liverpool, 4 Forest, 5 Man City, 6 Newcastle. That is the hardest 4-game run Man City will have all season. Arsenal will have all season. Bear that in mind when you're prioritizing your transfers, okay? So teams to target, fine. But what about captaincy? Because this is useful for captaincy. And straight away, when we talk captaincy, if you have Saka or you have Haaland, you captain them, right? If you have that, I'd go Saka 1, Haaland 2, straight away, without a shadow of a doubt. But most of you watching, over 50% of you watching, do not have Haaland or Saka. So where do you go? Let's compare the Chelsea fixture with the Liverpool fixture with the Aston Villa fixture, because a lot of you got Watkins. Now, that is tough. Now, the bookies have Chelsea and Liverpool to score about the same. 1.9, 1.95. The share of goals there, Salah would edge it, because Salah mops up a lot of the Liverpool goals. Palmer, obviously, big numbers for Chelsea too. Unfortunately, for those that might want to look at Aston Villa and Ollie Watkins, 1.65. The bookies do not fancy Villa to score like, what's that? Like 15% less than Chelsea and Liverpool. That 15% matters if you believe in the bookies' odds. Make your own opinions as well. Don't just go off this. I don't. I like Watkins very much. The problem with Watkins, I think Aston Villa will score as many goals as Chelsea, Liverpool. I think the bookies are wrong on this. I'd say Aston Villa are also 1.9. Brentford were dreadful. The problem here is Watkins doesn't have the extra routes to points that Salah and Mo have. He doesn't get a clean sheet point. He'll never get a DEFCON. Maybe one of the other two could, although it's unlikely. But also, we don't know he's on penalties. We know Salah and Palmer are on pens, and a lot of the set pieces. So Watkins doesn't, and Salah and Palmer get an extra point for their goal. So with all of this in mind, if I think Watkins and Villa is going to score the same amount of goals as Chelsea and Liverpool, with the routes to points that are involved, I can't captain Ollie Watkins. And at the start of the week, I thought Watkins might be there for me. But the more and more I thought about it, I went, no, it just doesn't feel right to me because of those routes to points. The extra point for a goal that Palmer Salah get. So as things stand, I'll talk about it in my team selection video, but I am not an Ollie Watkins captain. Now, where are you guys at for captaincy? Salah versus Palmer versus Watkins will be the 3. The masses are on Salah just 41, Watkins 33, Palmer 24. Of course, if you own Haaland like Lucy, you're going to go Haaland, but many don't. Okay. Now, Palmer does play in the Friday night game. Salah plays in the Monday night game. That affects how people make their decisions. It doesn't affect me. It never has. Right. I just go for the best fixture. Doesn't matter if they play Friday, first kickoff, last kickoff. But I can understand those that do, and that's fine. Salah, I would rank them. Salah 1 of these 3, Palmer 2, Watkins 3. But I would rank them Saka 1, Haaland 2, Salah 3 if we're talking any player in the game. In terms of Scout, where they're at in the projected odds, in the projected points, let's have a look. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying this sort of content, I can't do all the bells and whistle edits on all my videos. So this is recorded as live with an asset to show you. But hopefully you still enjoy these. And apologies, we can't do all the bells and whistle videos, but tomorrow I'll have a proper edited video out. But please do subscribe if you like either style video. Trying to do like a 50-50 split so I can bring you daily content. Fantasy Football Scout do projected points. This is algorithm stuff. This takes into account bookies' odds. They have Haaland 1, Saka 2, slightly different, 6.8, 6.7. They've got Salah at 6.3, Palmer at 6.01. They actually have Semenyo home to Wolves. That's a nice fixture. They've got Eze at home to Forest, although I don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll play, right? We know Eze's off. Then they've got Watkins all the way down with 5. Isak, obviously, this is always based on a player starting. So ignore Isak and ignore Eze because we know they won't play. Bruno versus Fulham. Visser again won't play versus Villa, but the bookies have to price it like this. And then Bowen versus Chelsea. This is interesting, though, for Semenyo. If you wanted a punt, I'm with them on Semenyo. I think that could be a really interesting one. I actually quite like Tijani Reijnders as well, if you don't want to go Haaland. But that's kind of how I rank them. I go Saka 1, Haaland 2, Salah would be my 3, Palmer would be my 4. Guys, thank you for watching. Team selection out tomorrow. Please hit the buttons on the way out, and I'll see you in 24 hours.